pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Chaplain.
We're in the roll call period. All members, please record your presence. We're in the roll call period. We're in the roll call period, folks. We've got a number of guests today. We've got a number of introductions. So sooner you can come from Blott, get on the floor, we'll get to work. All right, folks, if you take your seats. Again, we got a number of guests in the balcony. As you come in, if you take your seats. Mr. Atkinson, if you want to bring your team around you, I understand we got 5 gentlemen with you today, maybe some coaches. Yes, sir, you can stand. If you're wearing the same tie, you can stand up too. Y'all stand up, yes. Coach Hayes is recognized for a very important introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks Representative Atkinson for going up. We have the state 1A strength team state champions with us today, representing Latta High School. Coach Eisman is the coach. He also is the football coach at Latta. He and I go way back. We've got an outstanding relationship. He does a good job. Also, to have the athletic director with us today, Coach Robbie Brown, and members of the team are Gavin Amion, Caden Rogers, Joe Galloway, Zach Page, and Jackson Horn. I just want to stand here and congratulate y'all on quite an accomplishment. They do an outstanding job over there, not only in athletics, but academics too, one of the highest performing schools in the state, but congratulations. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Latta Strength Team. Glad to have you here today. Welcome to the State House. You're looking sharp. I've got a number of folks that have guests today. If you are here and your guests are in the balcony, if you'd let the desk know, please. Mr. Gillen, do you have someone, sir? We're in the roll call. All members, please record your presence. Just let me know when Mr. Yao is in the balcony. He's up there. Mr. Yao. Folks, if take your seats, if I get your attention, we got some very special guests from the National Guard marksmen. Mr. Gillum's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and if our members of the military caucus are here, please come on up and join us as we recognize some great soldiers. If y'all will, take notice in the balcony up at the front. Today, we honor a team of soldiers who have distinguished themselves at the highest level of their craft. At the 2026 U.S. Army Small Arms Championship, this team faced off against 35 elite squads from across the total Army and emerged as the undisputed champions. That's right. And their domination performance secured a first-place overall victory, a testament to their collective skills, unwavering discipline, and tireless dedication. They proved their mastery across the multiple weapon systems, earning first-place finish in both the team rifle and pistol disciplines. This remarkable achievement does more than bring home a trophy. It's unequivocally demonstrated the superior lethality and readiness of our South Carolina National Guard, and I'm very proud of them. The team has set a new standard for marksmanship excellence, enhancing our reputation on a national stage and directly contributing to the combat effectiveness of the entire force. Their success is a powerful example of professionalism and excellence that define our citizen soldiers. So let me, I have Representative Richie Yao that is in the balcony with them, and we're going to present them certificates, and I'm going to go get my paper before we do that. But if you will, please join us in recognizing all of them with telling them how welcome they are at our State House.
Welcome, gentlemen, to the State House. We're honored to have you. We appreciate your service. Gentlemen, I do want to tell you, I heard a little distraction while he was speaking. I want to go ahead and apologize. That was two of our Marines over there that were talking loud while you were being introduced. I guess jealousy is the highest form of flattery. So congratulations. Mr. Gillum, you have something else, sir? Mr. Gillum.
Yes, sir. Colonel, Sergeant Major McCall, will y'all stand, please, too? And the rest of the crew there. I want to let y'all know we have some distinguished soldiers along with our marksmanship team. AR, our Command Sergeant Major, he is McCall. He is the State Command Sergeant Major. And let me go ahead and recognize these. Staff Sergeant John Jordan, Sergeant Jonathan Vaughn, and Staff Sergeant Kevin Pritchett, who is the team captain for our marksmanship. We want to thank y'all. You make us very proud in South Carolina. Yes, you can. But we thank y'all.
Welcome to State House Today. I'm Gavin Jackson along with my instructor here in the State House lobby. It is Thursday, May 7th, 2026. This is the last day of week 17, Mayan. We're going into the final week, week 18. It's a week until sine die. That's the last day of session on May 14th at 5 p.m. We'll be done. We still have no idea what's going to happen after sine die. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I'll just go and mention that the House has gaveled in. We'll cut back to them in a moment. The Senate's coming in at 11. They both have massive calendars still with the House at 31 pages and the Senate at 47 pages. And again, 3 more legislative working days left. A lot of things to tackle there, as we were saying. And we're wrapping this up as we sprint to sine die. So a lot to do. But Mayan, we've been talking every day, somewhat all day, about redistricting this week. We've gone from like that being a long shot at the beginning of the week to now we are in the thick of it with the House making moves on that proposal yesterday to send it to the Senate to really start looking at possible congressional redistricting. So walk us through what the House did yesterday and the state of play right now with the redistricting.
Right, so the House voted 87 to 25 along party lines to amend the sine die agreement and send it over to the Senate. Of course, going back, the Senate passed the sine die agreement all the way back in February. It was a clean sine die, so it only talked about the budget, vetoes, appointments, conference committees. What the House did is added the option to come back for redistricting. And again, 87-25 vote, we assumed that it would probably pass out with the 2/3 that was required. Democrats tried unsuccessfully to stop the debate, to delay the debate. They asked questions that we've been asking, which is about, is there a map? What is the cost going to be? What does this mean for primary elections? Yeah. We spoke to House leaders after the vote who told us that they still believe that if this is the route that they take, that they're going to split off congressional primaries from the rest of the primaries. So again, we have statewide races, we have a U.S. Senate race, we have local races, and we have House of Representative races here in the State House. So despite the fact that there's been a proposal floated by a certain senator who is also running for governor, who wants to put these primaries together and delay all of them, House said, we're not interested in that. Now, the House has also gone ahead and scheduled a House Judiciary Committee meeting on Friday morning, first thing in the morning, to open the possibility of having a discussion around redistricting. Again, some of this may hinge on what happens in the Senate today. This is really the big vote that we're waiting on. Yeah. So, again, just like the House, it requires a 2/3 vote to amend the sine die. The House is right now not really sure where the votes are going to land. 46 members, they also need the 2/3. Democrats, will they go along with it? Will they not? We've already seen at least one Democrat, Ed Sutton, who has said he may be open to this because Democrats do believe that by tweaking the map, you're going to make it more competitive. Going back a little bit, whether there's been a map floated, there is a map floated by the White House, and we've seen perhaps maybe something very similar getting floated around on social media, despite the fact that we're told that there is not an official map, which is true. There may not be an official map yet, but apparently there are maps being floated around. But concerns still remain in the Senate over making the districts more competitive, over what it means for primary elections. Not only have ballots already been sent overseas, ballots have been cast. There's some maybe 200 ballots that have already been sent back to the State Election Commission. And again, it's confusing for voters. Voters do not know who they're voting for, and they don't even know what lines they're going to be in right now. So again, all eyes are on today on the Senate. We expect the resolution to be read across the desk early this morning, and then they may take a vote soon after that, and that could be a particularly lengthy debate.
Which will be interesting. Again, we've been hearing from Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey talk about this entire process, how he's been getting calls not just from the White House, but also from the president himself twice this week that we know of. And again, he kind of told, the president was telling him, wasn't really pressuring him, was just kind of saying to look at this and look at the process, whereas Massey has continually said that this would do exactly what you're saying in terms of making these 7 congressional districts more competitive, going from a 6-1 Republican Democrat to possibly a 5-2, possibly a 3-4. I mean, you don't really know what's going to happen here when you start looking at this map. And the process itself is a very long process. Like we talked about Louisiana, them doing that process right now and suspending their primaries to do this as a result of that Supreme Court ruling. They're already facing litigation and lawsuits stopping this process too. So I mean, we are going to enter into an entire different world of confusion and misinformation in some respects too when it comes to this, because of just how this is all going to spiral out of control. And of course, the House is up for re-election, like you said, 124 members. The Senate is not up for re-election, unlike those in Indiana, where we saw those 5 state senators get voted out because they opposed redistricting in Indiana. There's cover over here politically for the senators.
There is, and I think that's been, again, you're talking about misinformation. That has been one of those things floated around by a lot of folks now. We don't know whether they are bots or they live in South Carolina or they don't live in South Carolina, but talking about how this could hurt senators in the primary. Look, 2 years is a long time. A lot of voters have very short-term memories. A lot could change over the next 2 years. So certainly someone could primary a senator over this, but again, that is hard to say when we're 2 years out. So again, not just the fact that they're not up for re-election, they have some cover, although there's some, right, who are running for Congress, who are running for statewide office, like Attorney General and Governor. But in addition to that, in addition to delaying the primary election, in addition to making the maps more competitive, there's also this issue with how the U.S. Supreme Court and the state Supreme Court ruled on the map. Again, going back, they ruled that we had a partisan gerrymandered map. The Louisiana map was a racial gerrymander that violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. It's not just the U.S. Supreme Court concern that a lot of even Republican senators have, it's also the state Supreme Court. We talked about this. Chief Justice John Kittredge really said in his decision when he upheld the state's map, y'all need to kind of just watch yourselves, because the more you tweak, the more you could also wind up violating the state constitution.
And Mayan, we were talking about where this goes in the Senate, that vote, and what could happen potentially. I'm also wondering too, as we're still kind of unsure about where the votes are in the Senate, the 2/3 needed. Of course, there's a supermajority over there too, so Republicans have that if they all vote in line. But if I'm Wes Clymer, who's running for the 5th congressional district, does he abstain? Does he vote and possibly throw his nomination? Again, he walked into the Republican nomination. He's the only one Republican in that race, and he's likely to win it because it is a strong Republican district that could eventually be split into 2 districts, is what we're looking at right now. So there's confusion on that. But also, if they do just go along and pass it and say, we just want to look at this process, like everyone's been saying in the House, then they do have a sine-die agreement in place too.
Yes.
So they could go ahead and maybe do that, couch it, slow walk the redistricting effort, and maybe not even go anywhere with it, but say we tried to do it, it's not working, but hey, at least we have a sine-die agreement.
Right. I mean, look, I think anyone that says right now they are definitely redrawing the maps, I mean, again, we're not hearing that definitive kind of statement from House leadership or even Senate leadership. There is still the possibility that all these committees, judiciary committees in both the House and the Senate, meet, look over the map and say, look, we've done our homework, we've done our due diligence, this map was upheld, any kind of tweaks will make it more competitive, we're not doing anything. That is still a possibility, and we've heard, again, even as recently as last night, House leadership saying, this is not a promise that we're going to redraw the maps, but they're facing a lot of pressure from the White House and even from their constituents. Representative Brandon Newton was telling reporters last night that it's not just social media where they've seen a lot of conversation, they're getting phone calls, they're getting emails, so they're facing a lot of pressure, again, ahead of their own primaries, where a lot of Republicans this year have challengers.
24 House
from
Republicans.
The right, a lot from the right as well. So that is a challenge for a lot of them.
But it's interesting, again, if we play out that scenario when we talk about the Senate passing this through, just to say that we want to look at this, you are right up on the cliff there. I mean, you're really putting a lot into this, saying we're just going to look over. We don't know if we're going to jump, but we're going to look over and see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But again, we are a month away from the June 9th primary. And again, talking about the 2 State House members that are running for Congress. There's a lot of other people running for Congress too. A lot of people have already donated money, spent money, and now you're telling me to hit pause for a couple months to an undetermined amount of time.
Maybe
and
Mark
we'll
Sanford knew something, getting out this early.
It's so hard to determine what's going to happen, and we're
Yeah.
going to be watching that and following on the State House Gavel at scetv.org/the gavel. We're also today, Mayan, you had a really great rundown of what happened with the budget H2 that went back to the House after coming from the Senate. You would have thought that would have been the biggest part of the day yesterday, but of course the sine die resolution was behind that. But I'm not going to tell you to go through every little line, but the big takeaways there, what the House changed from the Senate version.
Right. So when the Senate got their version, they got to tack on about $130 million worth of earmarks, those so-called community investments, pet projects, pork, whatever you want to call it. The House got their turn, and they added about $300 million in projects. Now, the Senate did something different. I mean, the Senate was very clear that they were just going to do projects that were for law enforcement, fire safety, water and sewer. They were not going to do nonprofits. We saw some nonprofits in the House version. There is a lot of money for, like, the Congaree Riverfront District. We saw millions of dollars for Florence City water and sewer infrastructure. We also saw money to enhance an orangutan exhibit at the Greenville Zoo. But we also saw money for Special Olympics, for YMCA's, Sumter Airport. So
Economic drivers of these areas too,
Yes.
that sometimes sound like, oh, we're going to make fun of the Greenville Zoo, but no, I mean, people go there, they spend their money in there in the area, so it all adds up.
And we also saw millions of dollars for family planning, which is something that, again, both sides, both Democrats and Republicans, got some money in earmarks. But then we also saw some other tweaks. Look, speaking of redistricting, there is $1 million for both the House and the Senate.
Just found $2 million for this, sure, why
to
not?
basically help cover litigation costs. That House also agreed to insert a measure raising the in-district pay to $2,500 from the $1,000 per month. The Senate had already agreed to that, so it kind of locks that in. So we will potentially see that in the budget that takes effect July 1st. But of course, that would not take effect until the new General Assembly is sworn in.
And then there was another hearing about that today too in the House.
Yes, there is a standalone piece of legislation. That's the bill filed by Senator Shane Martin that would raise pay overall to that $47,500 figure. That did come out of Ways and Means, so we potentially could see that on the floor, as early as today, but probably next week. We also saw that the House agreed to not, upholding not putting in the $150 million for Scout, but they did add a measure that kind of gives some wiggle room to kind of cover outstanding debts from other state agencies. Again, they also included the measure, though, that there has to be this LAC audit that looks over it. So those are the big takeaways. As you mentioned in the gavel, or as we mentioned in the gavel, the Senate refused to concur. We knew that was coming. So they're going to get together, they're going to negotiate and hammer out those differences.
And just looking into the House, which we'll jump to in a moment, the House put that expansion of the 2000 Heritage Act on contested calendar, possible special order. It sounds like it's maybe going to come up today, get some more debate going on that. But over in the Senate, just want to go and mention some big things that happened yesterday, including how they're tacking on different things to different bills, man. We're at that time of the year when folks want to see their priorities get put through.
It's giving Panthers projects. PTSD.
Well, it's almost kind of like how when we're talking about the homestead exemption expansion, that $247 million plan that was added in the budget over in the Senate, or the standalone legislation, that was like a last minute thing to that too. So we're seeing these things now happen, and we saw that get tacked on, that proposal get tacked onto H5006, which is it's a small business property tax cut situation. So they said, hey, throw the expanded $247 million homestead exemption expansion to it too. So it's like, but that's not in the budget that the House is taking.
No,
so
it's
they're
not.
trying to say, hey, please.
They're
stick this out.
They're trying to send a message to the House, tacking it on to a House bill. Now, of course, it is a House bill, so when the bill gets read back over the House, they can easily pull it right back out, and then perhaps the Senate non-concurs on it again.
And we did see the Senate also pass that high school league reorganization bill 4163, send that back to the House, and the small business regulation bill, that was a priority of House Speaker Merle Smith, H3021, also passed. And the ivermectin bill, the bill to make ivermectin tablets available over the counter, H4042, was pulled out of Senate Medical Affairs Committee and put on the calendar. So we will see that on that 41-page calendar, possibly up for debate soon. So a lot going on, and good to see you. And we're also going to see what else is happening today in the House. I think we covered pretty much everything that we can, that we know of for the most part.
Do you want to mention just something completely a little bit unrelated, but this is something that We didn't get to go. Some of us did not get to go to the zoo day, but obviously, yes, we can make the announcement on our live hit. I obviously am expecting. I would think that people probably would have figured that out. Due at the end of June, so hopeful that the legislature is not in session. And
different kind of redistricting.
That's right, different kind. No, what I was going to mention is that Representative Brandon Cox has been really hyping this up. The Robert Small statue that is going on the State House grounds, tying it back into the actual State House. The Robert Small statue that is going up, the Robert Small's commission, the bipartisan group of lawmakers, they need to raise up to $2 million.
Right.
They're going to hold a groundbreaking on May 13th at 9:30. They want to gin up some excitement over this. So if you have questions about the Robert Small statue and how to donate, you can go to the State Department of Administration website and learn more about it. It's a really cool statue. It'll be the first standalone statue to an African American on the State House grounds.
There's so many wonderful statues out here too. And I will say there's some really great history too, not only about Robert Smalls, but the first 8 black congressmen from South Carolina, and Congressman Jim Clyburn's book, The First 8. Super fascinating, wonderful lives and interesting backgrounds that you want to check out there if you want to see that book. I also have an announcement, Mayan.
Oh, yeah.
On Friday at 7:30 on This Week in South Carolina, we'll continue our conversations with the candidates, including Republican businessman Ram Reddy and our first Democrat, Billy Webster, who's an upstate businessman and also former Clinton administration official. So we'll be going through what they bring to the table as we continue this march to the June 9th primary. We know that will still be going on at least. There's no redistricting for a statewide race because there's one big district called the state of South Carolina. So those will not be affected. But of course, we're all wondering who's going to be the nominee for the Republicans and the Democrats when it comes to the governor's race and other statewide races as well. So stay tuned for that. We also have our debates coming up. We have the Attorney General's debate on May 27th. We have the Republican gubernatorial debate on June 1st and the Democratic gubernatorial debate on June 3rd. So we will be there. Hopefully you'll still be with us.
We're going to work until we can.
And of course, we'll have election coverage in June as well. So a lot to keep up with. You can do that at scetv.org/thegavel as well as youtube.com/scetv news. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up week 17 here for State House Today and send you over to the House Chamber. I'm Gavin Jackson along with Mayan Schechter. Have a great Thursday.
Accepting the resolution on behalf of M.J. Collins are his parents, Michael and Jamia Collins, and his aunt, Nikki Adams. Let me tell you a little bit about M.J. He was born and raised in Clover with deep ties to the historic Roosevelt community there. High school, he played part of his career at Westminster Catawba School down in Rock Hill. In college, he competed at the highest levels across 3 major conferences, the ACC at Virginia Tech, the SEC at Vanderbilt, and the Mountain West at Utah State. His 2025-2026 season highlights include that he led the Utah State Aggies in scoring. He was named Charleston Classic's most valuable player in the Low Country bracket after leading the team to a tournament title. He earned the Oscar Robertson National Player of the Week honors. He scored a career-high 40 points in a game against Davidson, and he was the Utah State Student Athlete of the Week. He helped lead Utah State at the Mountain West regular season championship and an NCAA tournament appearance. But he's not just an athlete. As a scholar athlete, he earned a spot on the All-ACC academic team during his ACC career and also Utah State Student Athlete of the Week while playing in the Mountain West Conference. He's an ambassador in that he is recognized by this house as a positive role model for our community, for young athletes, for our hometown and family, and as an ambassador to the state of South Carolina. Unfortunately, he could not make it here today. We are honored to have the family here with us today, and I'd ask you to give him a State House welcome. Thank you very much. Mr. Gilreath has a group to recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to recognize a wonderful group from Star. It's in Anderson County, and they're scattered all over Anderson County. But a special group called Boost Homeschool. This group is a Christian homeschool co-op from Anderson. There's about 75 total who attend twice a month.
Let me get some order, sir. I'm sure at homeschool you never have misbehaving students, right? My students here do tend to misbehave because we're in public, you know. So continue, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So there's about 75 students total in this Boost co-op. They participate in Beta Club and sports and other activities just like students in public education. They have many different ages in this that are represented here today. And we are just so happy to have this wonderful group of students and family. It's such a commitment to take your family and raise your kids and also teach them at home all the things that they need to learn growing up. But I look at homeschool kids and they are so outstanding. Look you in the eye, shake your hand, speak very well to you. It's just a wonderful way to raise your children, and I applaud the parents who take your time to do this. But thank y'all for being here with us at the State House today, and hope y'all enjoy your visit. I just ask everybody to give them a big round of applause.
Welcome to State House today. We're honored to have you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I come from a family of school teachers, and I support school choice in all the different ways. And we always said my wife and I would homeschool, but we decided we were too dumb. But my mother, who was an English teacher and a counselor, a lady that was a friend of hers, my mother passed out of a law school, and a lady that was a friend of hers said they were disappointed that I supported these things. And they said, if my mother heard this, she would roll over in her grave. And I said, if Mama's living, she'd be homeschooling my crew too. So I appreciate all the hard work. I hope you enjoy your day here at the State House today. Thank you very much. Mr. Weston Newton is recognized.
Jennifer. Huh? Yeah. No question.
We welcome our good friend, Ms. Dobson, to the floor. Mr. Newton.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to recognize someone who has devoted her career to the service of this institution and the people of South Carolina, Miss Jennifer Dobson. For many years, I had the opportunity to work closely with Miss Dobson, and I can say without hesitation that her dedication to this state and to the principles of effective, accountable government has been unwavering. Her career in public service reflects both the breadth and depth, spanning roles as an assistant solicitor, agency attorney, legislative counsel, and ultimately as chief legal counsel to the House Judiciary Committee. She served as the inaugural director of the House Legislative Oversight Committee, where she helped build the committee from the ground up, establishing its structure, processes, and long-term framework. Under her leadership, that committee earned national recognition year after year for improving government performance, strengthening accountability, and delivering real cost savings to the people of South Carolina. Ms. Dobson has consistently gone beyond the scope of her formal roles, assisting members of the General Assembly and their constituents, helping navigate complex state systems, and ensuring that government works as it should. Her work ethic is second to none, whether it was legal research, drafting reports, staffing committees, or supporting members. She brought excellence and professionalism to every task. Her academic achievements reflects that same commitment to excellence, from graduating summa cum laude from Erskine College to earning her Juris Doctorate from the University of South Carolina School of Law. But beyond her resume, those who know Ms. Dobson know her for her integrity, her character, and her steady sense of purpose. Her leadership has been grounded in principle, guided by faith, and demonstrated through a genuine commitment to serving others. Ms. Dobson has made this institution stronger, more effective, and more accountable. It is an honor and privilege to recognize her service and to extend our best wishes to Ms. Dobson in her well-earned retirement. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Dobson.
Congratulations, Jennifer. Don't be a stranger to us. Good to see you. Ms. Wetmore. Is Ms. Wetmore in the house? Mr. Lastinger? Mr. Lastinger's recognized for an announcement, not Mr. Announcement's recognized for a Lastinger. Yeah, there you go, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would just like to take a moment just to acknowledge today is a very special day. Today is the National Day of Prayer. It's from the White House all the way down to all the institutions in every state. And this began in 1775. George Washington began that. In 1952, Truman signed a bill and went into law that this would be the National Day of Prayer in our nation. So at this time, I'd like just to be able to tell you that. There'll be people praying on the front steps today, but if it's raining, they'll be downstairs if you'd like to join them at noon for this National Day of Prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Representative Lastinger. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lastinger just pointed out it's the National Day of Prayer, and we covet everyone's prayers, all the people that come and read the Bible, all the people that pray, but sometimes I think we take it for granted, and sometimes I think it's just about us. And so I'd ask that we rise now. If we could rise for a moment of prayer, of silent prayer. And let's pray for all the people outside this room, all people that don't have the opportunities that we have, and all the people that need the Lord's blessing on them, just as we covet it from everybody that prays for us. I'd ask the people in the balcony to join us. Let's put in our hearts who needs our prayers worse than we need them today. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Amen. Thank you, sir. Folks, we're going to read, and then we've got 2 goodbye speeches, and then we'll get on the calendar. Clerk will read.
Senate returns with amendments. House 5097.
I'm sorry, clerk will read.
Senate amendments. House 5097.
This is Senate amendments on House 5097. Provide that certain roadside markets operated by farmers are not exempt from local and state regulatory requirements and to define necessary terms. Representative Haddon requests that unanimous consent for immediate consideration. Do I hear any objection? Hearing none, Mr. Haddon is recognized to explain the Senate amendments on 5097. While we're waiting on Mr. Haddon, Mr. Haddon is recognized for the Senate amendments, but we will close the attendance. All members wishing to record the President done so. Clerk, close, poll, and tabulate. Quorum is present. Mr. Haddon, do you need the bill? Yes. Mr. Haddon's recognized.
Members, this is a bill that we passed, I think it was unanimous several weeks ago. It's our roadside markets bill that would exempt roadside markets from most county and city permitting and codes for their roadside markets only. The Senate took it up, did some technical changes to it. It's a really good bill. You're talking about saving farms in this climate. This bill will do it. So I would ask you to concur.
Seeing no questions, Mr. Haddon requests we concur with Senate amendments on, I'm sorry, you've taken the bill. 5097, green to concur, red to non-concur, and voting's on the board. Ms. McDaniel's got a very special group of guests in the balcony to recognize during the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask any members of the military caucus or the legislative black caucus to please join me as I acknowledge this beautiful group of ladies. And Mr. Speaker, these ladies are celebrating their inaugural day here in the South Carolina legislature. And the group is Psi Zeta Phi Military Sorority Incorporated. PZP was founded on October the 1st, 2019. It was founded by Joy C. McClendon. Joy, if you would raise your hand so they can see you. Oh.
House to come to order, please. You got a lot of movement this way, Ms. McDaniel. Let everybody get here. It needs to get here.
Okay.
House to come to order. If you need to be up front, Ms. McDaniel needs you up front. If you're not up front, take your conversations outside. Ms. McDaniel, I think you're recognized. Just about everybody's up here now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members of this General Assembly, we have a group of military ladies here who are former military ladies, all of that, who are celebrating their inaugural day here in the South Carolina General Assembly. They were just a little interested in what we do, how we make laws, and I happened to just run into them when I had my Veterans Affairs Director here, and they were invited to come, and they thought it not robbery to come and sit with us this morning to see how we make laws. This group, Mr. Speaker, is Psi Zeta Phi Military Sorority Incorporated, PZP. It was founded on October the 1st, 2019, relatively new, by Joy C. McClendon. Joy, if you would raise your hand. And she is a proud United States Army veteran with a clear and purposeful vision to create a sisterhood rooted in service, leadership, and unwavering support for women who have served or are connected to the United States Armed Forces. Guided by its powerful motto, only the strong survives. The sorority embodies resilience, strength, and perseverance, qualities that reflect the spirit and dedication of its members. The foundation of the organization's legacy began with National Alpha Line, the beginning of Psi Zeta Phi, Military Sorority Incorporated legacy. It is comprised of 5 strong and dedicated women veterans whose commitment, vision, and sisterhood helped establish the framework and the spirit of the organization. Now, Mr. Speaker, they have a whole lot of stuff listed here that they're doing, but I think the greatest thing that they're doing is that they have served our United States of America from different capacities. We have one young lady that actually traveled from Tennessee. And she would raise her hand just to be with us and see what we're doing here. We have one from Maryland. She would raise her hand. She came to see what we're doing. And then we have one from North Carolina, and she's here visiting. So, Mr. Speaker, I just think it's not robbery when we see these beautiful ladies, and we know South Carolina is a state that believes in her veterans. And so we just want to welcome them. We want you all to show them some love, and we hope next year they decide to come back and celebrate with us again. We do have a resolution. We didn't get it ready this morning, so we will be presenting that at another time for them. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you for allowing me to introduce this illustrious group of ladies from as veterans of the military.
Thank you very much, ladies. Welcome to the State House. We're glad you joined us today. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for your service to our country and for what you're still doing for the state of South Carolina. We do appreciate it. I hope you will come back. This is your State House. We're glad to have you with us today. Clerk will read. I'm sorry. Clerk will close the poll, tabulate by a vote of 98-0. The House concurs in Senate amendments on House Bill 5097. Clerk will read.
Senate returns with amendments. House 4813, Pope.
Mr. Pope, what purpose are you asking? Mr. Pope requests unanimous consent to take up Senate amendments on House Bill 4813. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. Mr. Pope, you're recognized. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you recall, we started our early work on magistrates with some fines and fees that were going to help in lifting the level of magistrates. It went to Senate. This was before the second bill where we sent back to committee that we're going to work on during the off session. But what this one is, the Senate amendments on the fines and fees that went over, they have passed it with a few amendments. Some are training and the rest on just adjusting the fees a little bit. I would ask that we concur with the Senate amendments. Mr. Pope moves that we concur with the Senate amendments on House Bill 4813. Mr. Williams, you have a question? Mr. Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Real quickly, Representative Polk, did those amendments had to do with any of choosing the magistrates?
Of choosing them?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
sir. It was more about, now they take a test or something about the review of the test, and I think actually it extended the time, between the test or after the test. It was fairly minimal. As you recall, we were much more comprehensive, talking about lawyers and magistrates and all that. None of that's in here. The simple, and if you recall, these fines and fees, actually, the Chief Justice was surprised. They were very minimal that the magistrates requested compared to what we thought, because they hadn't been up.
Okay. Would there be a time when we look at how we choose magistrates in the local area? Because as far as I know, the Senate has been choosing these magistrates. Is it something that we are looking at so that the House can be a part of those choices?
Yes, I think, as everything that's a delicate
Mr.
balance.
Speaker, could we get some order, Mr. Speaker? Because I can't hear.
House, come to order. Got some questions we need to get answered here. Got some work to do. Mr. Pope, Mr. Williams, you're recognized. Thank you, Mr. Williams. I think your question, Mr. Williams' question was, will we be looking at even how the magistrates chose, the fact that how it's kind of been reversed in the Senate? Because the law says the governor chooses and the Senate approves. It's kind of been upside down. I anticipate that post our magistrate discussion we had on the other bill that we sent back to committee, that'll be part and parcel. But as you know, to get legislation passed, sometimes you get to strike a balance. And so we will work in the off session, Lord willing, and we return. If he returns, we won't have to worry about it. But Lord willing, and we return, then I'm on fire today, Ms. Cobb. So that we will look at that too. I anticipate that the Speaker will appoint a committee in the off season. We'll work on all those issues and lay out the options. As you've heard the Chief Justice say when he spoke to us, he wants to bring them in the mainstream with the other judges, and I think that's good for us, good for the state of South Carolina.
Well, I really appreciate you, Representative Polk, and thank you. And that's why your prayer worked earlier, so you all good. Thank you so much.
Bless you, sir. Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, the question is concurring in Senate amendments on House Bill 4813. Vote green to concur, red to non-concur. We're voting on the board. All members voted.
Mr. Hickson, take your time, Mr. Hickson. All members wishing to vote voted. Any objection? Closing the roll call. Hearing none, clerk close polls tabulate by 100 to 0. House concurs in the Senate amendments. Clerk will read.
House returns with amendments, or Senate returns with amendments, House 4188.
Senate amendments.
Senate amendments, House 3874. J.E. Johnson.
Senate amendments.
Senate amendments, House 4270. Schuessler.
Senate amendments.
Senate amendments, House 5179.
Senate amendments.
Senate amendments, House 3387.
Senate amendments.
Senate amendments, Senate 52.
I got a bad back. Senate amendments.
Okay. Committee reports, invitations, reports favorably. House 5664.
Committee report.
Committee report, Senate 1157, reports favorably.
Committee report.
Committee report, Senate 688, Ways and Means favorable.
Committee report.
Committee report, Senate 933, Ways and Means favorable.
Committee report.
Committee report, Senate 1048, Greenville delegation favorable with amendment.
Committee report.
Okay, committee report, Senate 70, Education Public Works favorable with amendment.
Committee report.
House resolution, Representative Rutherford honoring Jack C. McDowell.
Mr. Rutherford requests to roll to House. Do I hear any objection? Hear none, it's so ordered. Clerk.
House resolution, Representative Cobb Hunter remembering the life of Mr. Calvin Wright.
Ms. Cobb Hunter requests to roll to House. Do I hear any objection? Hear none, it's so ordered.
House resolution, Representative King expressing sorrow for the passing of Daisy Rogers McDuffie.
Adopted.
House resolution, Representative McDaniel honoring Psi Zeta Phi military sorority.
Adopted.
House Resolution, Representative Rose recognizing Brad J. Waring.
Mr. Rose requests to roll to House. Do I hear any objection? Hearing none, it's so ordered.
House Resolution, Representative Scott honoring the Boykin Spaniel Society.
Representative Scott requests to roll to House. Do I hear any objection? Hearing none, it's so ordered.
House Resolution, Representative Clyburn congratulating Alma Johnson Cherry of Aiken County.
Mr. Clyburn requests to roll to House. Any objection? Hearing none, it's so ordered.
Current resolution, Senate 1181, Senator Adams recognizing and honoring Melinda Hounder. Melinda, is that it?
Adopted. Before we get into the calendar, Ms. Mitchell has a very special introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the members of the body here for allowing me this indulgence to introduce my family today. I know we may disagree on a lot of different things, but I know that we all agree that we are doing this work for the next generation. So my family's in the balcony. Would you please stand? This is my daughter Mallory and her husband Patrick, and Josiah, Benham, and Abigail, and this sweet redhead thing is Lois. And I thank you so much for welcoming me to the house today.
Welcome to the house, guys. Good to see you here today. That looks like a proud family up there, Miss Mitchell. So we will now recognize Miss Wetmore. Ms. Wetmore, I'm going to make some arrangements and come down for a special presentation.
Hold on, Miss Wetmore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Miss Wetmore, hold on. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
House of Standing D's back. If you'll just back up just a minute. Mr. Pope's going to speak first. I know you probably don't want.
You stay right here, Miss Wetmore. They kind of mess with me. You know, I always laugh about, I'm in charge when the speaker's not around. And I love when they come and tell me I get to do a presentation. They explained to me, our clerk, remember he's up for election next time, our clerk said that the one I did for Ms. Johnson yesterday was wrong because I was supposed to do it first. So, Ms. Wetmore, I will tell you I was good friends with Peter McCoy. And when the lady came to take Peter McCoy's place, the only thing they could tell me was she was a prosecutor. And Todd rolled his eyes, and I was all excited. And I'll tell you, you have come here and represented your district admirably. I mean, so much better than, like, say, Leon or somebody like that, And you have acquitted yourself well and through somewhat difficult times. As you know, I sit in a lot of times with the Judiciary Committee, and I think you asked the right questions. As we talked yesterday and we learned, and it's tough wearing a blue jersey or a red jersey sometimes because sometimes you think blue and sometimes you think red. I used to tell Leon sometimes I'm jealous because, in my area I'm a rhino, because I would even give you an award, And so it's sometimes tough when you're struggling internally between what we know from a legal standpoint, what you know from a heart standpoint. And I think until this family knows too, you have acquitted yourself well. I know you're not going up to heaven yet, since that's been our theme today, but I think you're going before your time from our presence because you had so much to give. I know you will continue to do so, and we wish you well in every endeavor, and we look forward to having you back, and we'd like to present you with this resolution, young lady. Thank you. I'll take it over there.
Miss Wetmore, you'll have to wait again. Mr. Stavronakis wants to say a word.
Yeah. Tommy, you are a rhino. Those people are right. So Tommy hit a lot of important points about Spencer, and I, thought a lot about this since she told me she wasn't going to run for re-election. And there's a lot I'd like to say, but I've had to remind myself that this moment's not about me, but it's about Spencer. But I think sometimes it's worth taking a second to really reflect on some of the people that we get to serve with when they leave us. And Spencer's just a really special person. She, her husband Burns, and their family are just really, really good, honest, decent, hardworking people. And they're great friends to me and to everyone in here. I asked my daughter Clara Ann adores Spencer and a lot of the other ladies that serve and work here. And I asked her I told her I need help saying goodbye to Spencer when her day comes to present, her goodbyes to the body. And she did. She's back there. She did write a speech and sent it to me the next morning. But Clara Ann, I don't think I should read it, but it really was great. I think Peter McCoy would get really mad if I read it. But I would just say again, all the things to anyone watching in the public that you want in your elected officials, this fine lady represents. She's smart, she's dedicated, she's hardworking, she's honest. She's not here to benefit herself. She really cares about people. She loves this state. She loves her family and her community. Everything literally that you would want someone that speaks as your voice, your representative to be. Spencer Wetmore represents every bit of that, and she does it and has done it at just a super, super high level. Being able to ask her questions, to have someone so smart sit next to you and give you advice is just invaluable. But just the friendship. I mean, we're all blessed to have each other, and our extended families get to know each other. And when God sends someone like this our way and a family like this our way, we really should stop and reflect and be thankful, regardless of everything else we deal with as representatives, everything we have to deal with in here and at home. We really are blessed and lucky people to have each other. And again, when someone and a family this special comes along, I just feel like I have to stop and say thank you. I'm going to miss you like so much. And I know a lot of other people will too. And the good thing is, I'm home in Charleston, and I get to see her. You all aren't going to be so lucky, and I get to see Burns all the time. He and I work together a good bit regularly. But anyway, I don't want to go on and on. This is Spencer's moment, but I know when the time comes, you all will join me in being as heartfelt in telling her and cheering for her as anybody. And Spencer, gonna miss you, girl.
Now it's your turn, Ms. Wetmore. You're recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much to Speaker Pro Tem Pope and to my desk mate, Leon. He asks my advice. It is always the other way around, I can assure you. In fact, y'all actually have Leon to thank for me even being here. So thank you so much. That was unnecessary, but very kind. Thank you. I jokingly said yesterday that I was going to get all that out of the way. And I really do today just want to say a sincere thank you to everyone, to each and every one of you. I know that I come up here to the well or in judiciary and
I give everybody a fair amount of grief. But in all seriousness, you know, leaving here, I talk such a big game about, oh yeah, I'm ready for the next chapter, but I'm going to miss this place. I'm going to miss everything about it. You know, people ask me a lot, like, would you do it all over again if you had the chance? And I say, yeah, absolutely I would. I would do everything all over again just for the chance to meet everybody that I've met over the last 7 years or whatever it's been. So I do want to take a few minutes to say some special thanks to everybody. First off, thank you so much to the staff here and in the Blott building. Y'all work so hard behind the scenes just to make all of us look good. A special thank you to Robin Heatwell, my legislative aide, who is the best. In fact, one of the reasons I know it's time not to run again is because I've actually forgotten how to use my own calendar. So thank you. A big thank you to each and every one of you and everyone that we've served with and everyone that you know, is across the hall now that has served with me over the last 4 terms. I really have learned something from each and every one of you. I really have learned a different perspective or a different way of thinking about it or about a different corner of the state. And I just want to thank you all so much for being my friend. You know, when I first got up here, I didn't really know where I was going to fit in. Like, there aren't very many women, there aren't very many Democrats. Like, where am I going to sit at lunch? And y'all have made that a really special, y'all have made it a really special place to be. And I've so many close, lifelong friends here now. You know, it's like when you pledge a fraternity or sorority together, like you all trauma bond. No, I'm kidding, but we are all, there's so many people that I'm just so close with and so grateful for each and every one of you for being my friend and putting up with me. If I could give one bit of advice, I have no real words of wisdom to share, but especially to the younger members or the more junior members, pick one issue that is important to South Carolina families and is important to your family. And as soon as we adjourn here in the next couple of weeks, start working on it. Start working with staff. Start working with state agencies. Just pick one small issue and come back with a pre-filed bill in the fall that you think is going to impact a family or your family or your constituents. Speaking of families, my last and most important thanks is to my own family. So I'll start, okay. Okay, so much of my family is in the gallery today, and I want to start by thanking them. We've got my father-in-law, Frank Wetmore, his wife Rhonda is back home with all the other grandchildren, my mom, Melinda Kelly, her husband, Joe Kelly, is also back home, my dad, Kel Compton, and my stepmom, Carol Ann Compton. Anytime you've seen Burns here, it's because one of these lovely, amazing folks is at my house with Lily Kate. So thank y'all so much for all the support and the signs and making sure all your friends got on board, and thank you. And Frank, thank you for letting me use the last name Wetmore and become a Democrat with it. I'm so sorry. But the biggest thanks, of course, is to the family, my Folly Beach Wetmores. Lola Kate Brooks comes back next week. As many of you know, Brooks is living the life in a gap year this year, and she doesn't come back till next week. But bonding with Brooks over politics has been probably the highlight of this experience for me. Thank you. Oh gosh. All right. Sorry, y'all. I'm so emotional for no reason. Lola Kate has put up with a lot. She was 3 when I first started doing this. So I don't know that she's ever really known a mommy who wasn't always on the phone, right? But I'm so grateful to her. She's turned out all right, even though I wasn't there for a lot of even though I missed a lot of tennis matches and bedtimes. You did all right, girl. But most importantly to Burns for holding everything down. Our law practice, our family, my campaign logistics, everything. So he's the cameraman, the law partner, the dad, the husband. So Big thank you to Burns, and thank you to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Spencer. You will be missed. We thank you very much. Miss Wetmore, don't forget we got one more week.
Luckily for you, Mr. Reed has heard from the speaker, and the next honoree is going to be forced to share his time with me. Because apparently, as my father used to say about me, my next friend has been vaccinated with a phonograph needle. Think about it. All right. I was going to tell him I don't know that he has enough mouth for a second set of teeth like my father told me I had, but my dad was also willing to knock one of them out, so we'll leave that alone. But Mr. Taylor and I came in. I look around the room now that I think Mr. Hickson, Mr. Chumley are the only two that are left when our class in 2010. We thought we were narrowing it down, me and Mr. Hickson holding out. We thought Taylor would be here forever, but now that we know he's leaving, we thought when Chumley ran for speaker, that'd take care of that, but heck, he's still running too, so I don't know what we'll do about that. But we came in, as every group has. We talked about all the different classes. You know, Bubba recognized some different classes. We came in to clean up Columbia. And you find out that, I don't know if we went as far back then as they do now. We didn't say everybody was on the take. And I'll go ahead and share for those of you who hadn't heard. I've told David Pasco he's going to indict me first because I'm rolling on everybody because I know how the system works. And my attorney, Mr. Rutherford, said we'll meet with them as soon as they're ready. You know? So, but we came in, and I think we all bring our unique gifts, and Bill is no exception. I told Bill if I wasn't so worried about the crime of plagiarizing, every time Bill would, you know, it's all I do to walk out here after the week and just say something on a video that I can send out and tell him what I do. This man would write a novel. Well, one, to do that, you got to pay attention. You got to be involved. You got to understand what's going on. And I mean, I still do it. I hope you're going to keep writing them. The depth of knowledge I get from what Bill sends out is really a blessing, and it helps all of us. So, again, knowing that the speaker has weighed my time and Bill's time together, I will end it at that and congratulate Bill Taylor on the service here to the State House. Thank you a lot, Bill.
All right, Mr. Taylor is recognized, and I want you to remember, Mr. Taylor, the text you sent me during the reading clerk's remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I ain't Bubba, okay? Trust me, I ain't Bubba along the way. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And colleagues, it truly is an honor to stand before you today. One last time, except we have the monument bill coming up, and I'm the sponsor of the House bill on that side, so you may hear from me again this afternoon. You know, this is a moment for a time for reflection. I've listened to many farewell speeches over the last 16 years. Admittedly, the words spoken have pretty much faded along the way, but I do remember that all of them were touching, just like we saw from Spencer a moment ago. All were very personal, and all were very heartfelt. Most spoke with reverence for this institution. I will as well, because serving here has reaffirmed my faith in a representative form of government. You know, we're just like any other group of people. Let's not forget. And I always use the demonstration that any group of people is like a bell-shaped curve, like the IQ, right? 60%, when you grade them out, are in the middle. I'm in the middle. 20% are exceptional. 20% ain't so good, okay? And we're always defined by maybe the ain't so good part of all of that. Politics gets a bad rap. Some of it's justified. But many are just griping because they can. I firmly believe that public service is a noble calling. I have said that repeatedly in almost every talk I ever give to people. It is a noble calling. Not just for those that were fortunate to serve under this copper dome, but if you think about it, it's at all levels, whether it's the counties, the cities, even our little towns in our districts. And of course, there are those who serve in danger, our law enforcement officers and our firemen. They serve to protect all of us, and they are true public servants, and it's very noble. You know, I also include in those, and I really do mean this, the volunteers in our communities, whether they're helping the homeless or just coaching that T-ball team that I see our grandson play in. How cute that is. So many people give of their talents, and they do it in so many different ways. They're true public servants. They just don't get the recognition, the limelight that we might get or other elected officials. I became acutely aware of that in the early 90s. I served the White House and Daddy Bush and his Points of Light initiative. And I regularly was going there to consult them on how to manage all of that. And it really disclosed to me, woke me up so many years ago, of all the people in America, in all big towns and little towns, that do things that no one ever pays much attention to, but they are so important to the glue and the fabric of this nation. So they are neighbors, our neighbors, doing good all the time. Bubba referenced in his talk the other day, somewhere, he mentioned good people. Well, I mentioned those good people, but like Luke Bryan's song, and I love that song, that most people are good. One lyric in Luke Bryan's song that truly resonates with me in a positive attitude is, he sings, "I believe this world ain't half as bad as it looks." Think about that. I believe this world ain't half as bad as it looks. But then he goes on, the other one I love so much, and then he says, I believe if you just go by the nightly news, your faith in all mankind would be the first thing you would lose. That makes sense, doesn't it, huh? Well, it's not only the nightly news and the cable news outfits. The bad news moniker also applies to the tabloid websites, the news, quote, news sites, those bloggers. They claim to be journalists, journalists. I've spent 42 years in the news business before retiring. I flunked retirement. I'm here for 16 years. So I know a bit about the news business. Those journalists, I think they misspell journalism. I think it's spell it with a U. They're the journalist. Yeah, well, it's the truth, and I've used that more than once that's the journalist, what do you say, Of course, the same can be applied to social media. We all experience that. My predecessors back here 15, 20 years ago didn't have to put up with all of that. Well, we do. We get a lot of input from all of that. Again, most people are good, but those who post a lot sometimes know so little. They just make up stuff, and then we have to answer it. They're just loud on social media. Isn't it fun because they can do that? If only they'd ask a few questions of us even, we'd give them the answers, because we're all pretty out there to tell people what's going on. So in this body, I actually believe that you are true public servants. You're well-intended. I have found that time and time again. And most of you want to do the good and the right thing. We're all elected. We're all elected to represent our fellow citizens. That's a serious obligation. And I think most of us take it very seriously. Each of us has been given the opportunity to be at the policy table for what's now calculated to be 5.6 million people. Think about that. You help set the policy for this state. In my belief, because I believe states are sovereign, and we are the most important government because we not only gave birth to the federal government, but we also gave birth to all those in the state, all the counties and the cities and towns. So we are supposed to be, our founder said, we're supposed to be the most important government because we're closest to the people. And I think we actually do pretty good at that. And fortunately, we are unlike Washington. Politics there and their political squabbling is truly a national embarrassment. Aren't you embarrassed? I am. Republican or Democrat, all they can do is squabble with each other. It's also dangerous. It's dangerous for our country. The government needs to function for the people we serve. And I think we do a pretty darn good job of that. We work together. We actually do pursue good policy. Many bills here pass unanimously. And many bills pass with a vast majority. Of course, when we team together to do that, what are we called? The uniparty. You can't win, you know. They ask you to be bipartisan, work well together, and when you do, you're the uniparty. But that comes from the journalists, so what can I say? They like that, you know. It's okay. Sometimes we retreat into our political camps. That's fair, because if you have a strong moral beliefs, you need to reflect those as long as they are, I believe, in concert with the districts that you serve. So it's okay. You're not wrong for doing that, and we have different opinions about things. I represent a heritage district, as I call it, a large rural district with people who've lived there a long time. I call them the clans. Never talk ill of anybody because that's somebody's cousin. Really? You know, you learn that really fast, don't you? What I don't respect is the few who work hard to turn this institution into a drama-filled political theater. It's selfish grandstanding. Do better. How can you bash your colleagues on social media and then come in here and expect to work with them and get their support for legislation that you would like to get? So just wise up. Don't do it. Work with others. Build a consensus. Yes, compromise. Ooh, compromise, because absolutists insisting on your way end up getting nothing. We all know the reality in a representative form of government. The legislative process is the art of securing as much good policy as possible at that given time. And if it isn't good enough, come back and try it again another time, incremental growth on that. You know, some years ago, I asked leadership a critical question. I was asked by leadership a critical question. They said, Bill, what is it you want? That's a dangerous question, you know, because I realized the answer could set the stage for the rest of my time here. And my response was, not a dang thing. Oh, what a nice response. I loved it at the moment. It just blurted it out, and later I went, oh, I'm so glad I said it that way. Because I found my sweet spot was serving here, right where I am. I didn't need to get to the Senate or Congress or any other place. This is right here. I wanted to stay here. So I said, I serve, and this is going to hurt, I serve with a lot of my colleagues that have ambition flashing like a neon sign on their forehead, okay? You know who you are. And I said, I just didn't want to be one of those people. So I said, what I'm interested in is policy. I want my policy to move forward. And then I turned it quickly to make a pitch for, and I want this, this, and this, and I want you to back me on that, because I thought that was the opportunity for all of that. So I would also encourage you as you go through this process, as if you've been here a while, if you're new to this, perseverance is important. Patience is also important. Most of the things I ever got passed here, were mostly 8 years it took. So term limits, I'd have gotten nothing done if you'd have kicked me out at 8 years, you know. But yeah, it takes time here, as you know. We are a bit slow about stuff, and maybe that's okay, because things get better with age, I guess. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. You know, at the outset, I said this is a time for reflection and my personal reflection. So I have many memories in this chamber, and I'm just going to remind you of one. Most of you weren't here when this happened, so it'll be new to you. But I was here at the well presenting a bill. At the time, I think I was chairman of the House Higher Education Subcommittee, and I was up here doing a number of bills. And Mr. Rutherford stood up, and I suffered from his withering attack on whatever bill it was. You know, holy mackerel, is he good? Huh? Is he good? He honestly was just, you know, and I must admit, at the very moment, I could feel the perspiration going. I could feel the sweat in my neck, the pits, the whole works, you know. And it, you know, I tell you that humor is the best policy. So he was just about right where he is right now, just at me, going at me, Mr. Taylor, can you? And I finally said, Mr. Rutherford, I don't believe you know, and do you know, that I am the only, and I'm looking right at you when I say this again, sir, 10 years later or better, that I am the only person in this body that is licensed by the federal government to dispense hot air. I have a commercial hot air balloon license, and I was an instructor. So, sir, you are doing it illegally. Much laughter, and I pivoted and walked away. I got out of it, man. It was good. It was really a great one for me. He remembers it, don't you, huh? Yeah, thank you very much. Another reflection. 25 years ago, we figured it out. We got here as fast as we could. South Carolina is a jewel. So my wife and I were driving in, moving van had come over from Texas. We'd been in Dallas area, Fort Worth for so many years. As we crossed the Savannah River, we were in two separate cars. I had a dog, we had stuff we were bringing, you know how it goes, following each other. As we crossed the Savannah River from Augusta into Aiken County, there was rain ahead of us and a huge double rainbow. And we couldn't get to the phones fast enough to call each other on our old cell phones back in that day. And I said, you see it? She said, I see it. And we both said, it's an omen. You know, a double rainbow. It's one of much good luck and good fortune ahead of us as a symbol of hope and new beginnings. In our house, we call it a God wink. We often do things and we look at each other and we go, that was a God wink. Tap, tap, pay attention. And we've been very blessed. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you, Lord, for that double rainbow. Thank you for allowing us to be here, serve here. We found paradise in Aiken County in South Carolina, and we absolutely love the people, and love this state. So I'm most grateful for my family, as each of you are. Spencer talked about her family a moment ago. My wife, Donna, we've been married 55 years. She's my soulmate, my wing woman, as I often talk about her. She's a great counsel to me politically because she's smarter than me. Go figure. She especially deserves credit for making my legislative updates that come out weekly. And by the way, she produces them. I write every word. Drudgery. And then she produces it. Takes her a couple of hours to make it look really good with all the pictures and all that stuff. And she used to edit me more, but I figured her editing out, and so I get by with it pretty good now. But she makes it really look good, but she spends a couple of hours every week doing that and asking me questions and all of this. So for you, Tommy Pope, who enjoy that and plagiarize it, please thank my wife. And I would ask you if my wife, Donna Taylor, would please stand. She hates this part. Thank you. Not all members of my family could be here today because they have busy lives just like everybody else, you know. So our daughter Casey and her husband Bill Lenz live over in the Chesterfield area. Richie Yao is their representative, and they are out working today and doing stuff and traveling around the country and all of that. Casey's daughter Avery is over at USC, and she's a freshman, and she's taking the final test today. So didn't ask her to break that and come over here. But joining me in the balcony, if they would stand, is my son Ryan Taylor. Ryan, thank you. And my daughter, thank you. And that is my daughter in love, Jackie Taylor. We love her. She works for the Rural Infrastructure Authority here. So she's been a state government employee longer than me. So she was here and welcomed me when I came here. Thank you, you two, very much. We love you. Their children, Laurel, Lydia, and Heath, are in school today, 12, 10, and 4. So they're in for, guess what, state testing, I was told today. So it's our fault that they can't be here today. But love you all. Thank you all for being here. I very much appreciate it. You know, I wouldn't be here like you if it wasn't for the voters. They found confidence in me. House District 86, that big rural district. I was a new guy coming around. They didn't know me, but I knocked on doors for 5 months. I did all the things that y'all know you have to do in retail politics. And actually, I love retail politics, so it's kind of fun. You just got to be available and do it. So in 2010, I ran against an incumbent, and you know, the likelihood of that is incumbents about 90% that they're going to get reelected, maybe even more. In this case, as Bobby Harold said to me when he called me, he said, "You give him an ass whooping." I went, "Yes, sir, I did." It was really fun. So I beat the incumbent, good man, but it was time. And so here's the part you'll hate. So 8 terms, 16 years, I've never had an opponent in a primary or a general election. Eat your heart out. Now, thanks to you, Democrats running against everybody this year, I escaped just in time because I said, whew, thank you. I got out of this just before y'all threw one at me, you know. Now, I might tell you he wouldn't win, but that's all right. So, you know, I want to take a moment because I sincerely want to thank this House staff. Honestly, they are dedicated public servants. We all know that. They're smart and they're doers. And they have helped me as they have helped you immensely. Talk about educating me and advising me and keeping me out of trouble, mostly. They have done really, really well at that. And we rely on them for everything. They really go above and beyond. A special shout out to Lucy Scoville. Are you up there in the, there she is, our administrative aide in our suite. She's absolutely terrific. She succeeded Pam Robertson, who was our legislative assistant for, at least about a dozen years in our suite. Pam Robertson had been here, for those of you who don't know, had been in this building working here for over 50 years. Woo-wee! So she knew all the stuff. Boy, it was fun to sit and listen to her tell me stories about the Senate and the House that no one else could remember, I suppose. Even longer than Bubba and some others in here. She'd been here 50 years. Special thanks, and I really mean this sincerely, to my very special friend, Richard Pierce. I suppose he's over there somewhere. Is he over there? He's hiding? Not hiding, so he's listening probably. He's been great. He's great to all of you. I always thought he was my personal private attorney here, but I then found out he's actually working for some of you. Very disappointed to find out. He's been invaluable. He is a great friend. Richard, wherever you are listening to this, thank you. Thank you so very much. You know, in this chamber, I'm so thankful for all these folks. Charles Reed, thank you for all that you do. Boy, do you keep us on the track. That's hard to do because you all want to derail it all the time. So, and the ladies, thank you for all of your patience and your hard work. You know they stay here well after we leave many nights, particularly on budget night, and they work tirelessly to try to figure out what we actually did and said, you know, and that's pretty hard to do. And a special thanks to Mitch Dorman and the team. Thank you, sergeants. You keep us safe, and we appreciate you. You are just awesome teams. Thank you. And this very special shout out to the Aiken delegations. Team Aiken, Mr. Clyburn back there. I have to tell you, he was mad at me when I said I was going to retire. So, because I helped talk him back into coming back. So he wasn't happy with me because we're good friends. And I have a special gift for you a little bit later, not in front of everybody. Thank you, Team Aiken. I appreciate you all. Senator Young, I think, was back here at the moment ago. So if you still hear Senator Young, thank you for that very much. And we really work well together. We serve well together, and we are sort of renowned for being glued together. We keep each other covered. And that's pretty good. So some of you who have dysfunctional delegations, work on that, will you please? Because it's a lot easier when you work together. Right, Mr. Rutherford? That's an inside joke. Okay. So as I conclude, I have to answer a few very penetrating questions. Are you ready? They've been asked to me since I announced my retirement. One, with regard to my weekly newsletter, a member asked, how am I going to know what we did this past week? Tommy. My answer was, pay attention and take notes. Another said, who's going to give me the stuff I need for my legislative updates? And I said, the training wheels are leaving the house. You are on your own. Another asked, can I hire you to write my legislative newsletter? Easy answer. No. When you're done, you're done. It's called retirement. Retirement, no. Maybe the most important question that's been asked of me is, who's going to take over your candy jar? So for those of you who are watching and don't know this, for 16 years I have fed this body in this chamber, long before many of you were ever here. For a few years I sat one row back, but for the last decade or so I've been up here, better that 12 years, I don't know how, 12 years I guess it is. And so the candy jar is the lure. It's not only hospitality, it's the lure. And you know what that means. You all come up and start doing this and this and looking for it. And so we have conversation. And I've gotten to make good friends. I've gotten to know people better. And that's the purpose of it. When I was a CEO in businesses, I always had a candy dish on my desk or on my table in my office conference table because people would feel free enough to walk in, right in the middle. I'm doing work, and staff would walk in and go, thanks, appreciate it, and walk out, you know. So I learned that's a pretty good deal. So you've eaten me out of house and home, and I appreciate that. So now the question is, who's going to take care of that? Now, you know, on busy days, I have to fill it like maybe 5 times. And the bag under my desk is just huge. And some of you know where that is, too, because you go like, yeah. So I must tell you, we have pickers, and then we have grabbers. So, and you know who you are. It's pretty funny, actually. So I must say to you, it's part of my will leaving here. I will this entire crystal, and I will leave it, this entire crystal jar. Everybody's hoping it's not them. To my desk mate and soulmate, Mr. Bill Hickson. Come get it. Come get it. Come on. This is the guy. You have to keep it full is the right? Can we have a vote on that? Can there yays or nays? There you go, Mr. Hickson. It's all yours. Good luck with that. He'll be making a lot of trips to Sam's, I guarantee you, from them big bags. So lastly, thank you. Thank you to each of you, and I mean that sincerely. Thank you for your service. It's well underappreciated, isn't it? We know that. But we don't get here for attaboys because you ain't going to get them. You're going to get a kick in the rump is what you're going to get from some people. Not only here, but elsewhere, even your constituents. But thank you. Thank you for your service. You have become my friends and your colleagues, and I will surely miss you. People say, what are you going to miss? And I say, almost all of it. But, you know, sometimes you got to say it's time, because the people that don't get to give a speech like this are the ones that get beaten in elections. So you can choose. Choose it on your own, or let someone else choose it for you. And don't go out with a toe tag. It's just not a good look. So this may be my last moment at the well to say farewell. I'll still be here for the next few weeks, and I still serve until November, of course. But I have to warn you, the monument bill's coming up, and I may be up here again, so who knows? This may not be my final farewell, but all of that. These 16 years have been really the pinnacle of my life. I spent 42 years in the television news business. I loved every moment of that. I thought that was just a sterling thing until I discovered this. This is just an awesome experience. And if you don't come here every day and take a breath, take a pause, look around this room, look around those, I get to have Ronald Reagan and George Washington up here looking down on me. That's pretty awesome, isn't it, huh? It's breathtaking to be here because you get the very special seat in a very, very special place. The video, when I announced my retirement, said I was turning the page. And I used a video because I wanted people to feel what I felt. And people fed that back to me, and I was glad that they did. So I'm turning the page. I'm good with that because my wife gave me this last night as a little sign. It says, I trust the next chapter because I know the author. Thank you all.
Bill Taylor, congratulations on your retirement. We look forward to
Test one.
All right, members, let me remind everybody before we get started, we get ready to get on the calendar, and just so everyone was clear about this, it's supposed to be the last 2 weeks, but the last week of session, we agreed to do it, to have introductions, but we're not going to do any introductions or recognize any teams or anything like that. We got to work, we got to conclude at the end of the session, and that's been the historical practice that we've had in this house, at least since I've been here. So I just want to make sure if anybody's invited teams or things, we're not going to be able to do that this week. That's the 1 week we take off, and we make sure we don't have introductions. We absolutely will let members say their goodbyes, but that will be the extent of the introductions while we're here. So we're going to get ready to hopefully adjourn sine die on Thursday. So with that, we're now on the calendar, and we're on third reading, statewide uncontested bills. Clerk will read.
House Bill 5641, Jordan.
Are we on second reading local uncontested bills? You already did? So I'm sorry, I was a page ahead. We're on third reading, local uncontested bills. Clerk will read.
House Bill 5641, Jordan. Florence delegation.
All right, pending question is second reading of House Bill 5641, which is relating to the creation of Florence Memorial Stadium Commission in Florence County. Roll calls required in order. Voting on the third reading.
It's third
Okay,
reading,
all,
sir.
all people, all in favor of third reading. The pending question is third reading. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Bill receives third reading. That brings us to second reading, local uncontested bills. Clerk will read.
5653 Scott. Lead delegation.
All right, pending question is second reading of Lee County bill concerning school elections and how the vacancies are to be filled. Pending question is second reading. Roll calls required in order. Voting on the board. All right, have all members voted? Any objection cutting roll call short? All right, local bills. All right, has everybody voted? Any objection? Polls closed. Clerk tabulate by a vote of 105 to 0, 56-53. Receive second reading. Mr. Scott requests unanimous consent for the bill to receive third reading tomorrow. Is there an objection? Hearing none, so ordered. And that brings us now to third reading. That brings us to third reading, statewide uncontested bills. We're on Senate Bill 863 on page 6. Clerk will read.
863 Grooms. Ways and Means.
Pending question is third reading of Senate Bill 863. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Bill receives third reading. We're now on Senate Bill 238. Clerk will read.
238 Alexander. Ways and Means. Adopted amendment.
Pending question is third reading of Senate Bill 238. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Bill receives third reading. That brings us to page 7 on Senate Bill 812. Clerk will read.
812, the other Luke Rankin. Education and Public Works favorable.
Pending question is third reading of Senate Bill 812. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Bill receives third reading. That brings us now to second reading statewide uncontested bills. Clerk will read.
We have 857 Turner LCI favorable as
Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor
Brandon
signify by
Simple.
saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Debate is hereby adjourned. That brings us to Senate 619. Clerk will read.
Gambrel LCI favorable.
Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Debate is hereby adjourned. That brings us to page 8, Senate Bill 780. Clerk will read.
Gambrel again LCI.
Mr. Brandon Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Debate is hereby adjourned. That brings us to bottom of page 8, 787. Clerk will read.
Also Gambrel LCI.
Mr. Brandon Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to Senate Bill 830. Clerk will read.
Alexander LCI favorable.
Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to House Bill 5638. Clerk will read.
Joint resolution, House regulations without reference.
Mr. Newton moves to recommit that bill. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. The bill is recommitted to the Regulations Committee.
Regulations.
This brings us to Senate Bill 832. Clerk will read.
832.
Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Debate is adjourned. This brings us to Senate Bill 711. Clerk will read.
711. We have Senator Johnson, education as is.
Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Debate is hereby adjourned. Clerk will read. We're on Senate Bill 695.
Thank
you. Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to Senate Bill 868. Clerk will read. Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to Senate Bill 819. Clerk will read. Brandon Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to Senate Bill 894. Clerk will read. Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to Senate Bill 453. Clerk will read.
Burden 3M.
Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to Senate Bill 1062 on page 11. Clerk will read.
Senate education without
Mr.
reference.
Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to Senate Bill 958. Clerk will read.
Burden
Mr. Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Brings us Senate Bill 858. Clerk will read.
858 Young.
Brandon Newton again moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us on page 12, Senate Bill 1038. Clerk will read.
Massey.
Brandon Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us on bottom of page 12, Senate Bill 961. Clerk will read.
Agriculture.
Mr. Brandon Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to page 13, Senate Bill 765.
Reichenbach.
Mr. Brandon Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us Senate Bill 436. Clerk will read.
436 Groom.
Mr. Brandon Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. That brings us to Senate Bill 105. Mr. Newton raises the 24-hour point, sustained. That brings us Senate Bill 556.
Brandon.
Brandon Newton raises 24-hour point,
24.
sustained. That brings us Senate Bill 420. Mr. Newton again raises 24-hour point, sustained.
Yep.
Next on the calendar is Senate Bill 829. Mr. Newton raises 24-hour point, sustained. This brings us to page 15 of the calendar, Senate Bill 922. Mr. Brandon Newton raises the 24-hour point, sustained.
Brandon 24.
This brings us to page 18 of Senate Bill 235. Mr. Brandon Newton raises 24-hour point, sustained. This brings us to Senate Bill 399 on page 18.
Elliott.
Mr. Brandon Newton raises 24-hour point, sustained. This brings us to Senate Bill 428. On page 19, Mr. Brandon Newton raised 24-hour point, sustained. Next is Senate Bill 845. On page 19, Mr. Brandon Newton raised 24-hour point, sustained. Next is Senate Bill 696. 996. Mr. Brandon Newton raises 24-hour point, sustained. That brings us to Senate Bill 823 on page 20. Mr. Brandon Newton raises 24-hour point, sustained. This brings us to Senate Bill 751 on page 20. Mr. Brandon Newton raises 24-hour point, sustained.
24.
And on Senate 222, Mr. Brandon Newton moves to adjourn debate. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it.
Random
Then we are
simple.
now in withdrawals of objections or requests for debate. Are there any withdrawals of objections or requests for debate? Mr. Hosey?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to ask for unanimous consent to withdraw.
We're not in the
Senate bill.
Mr. Hosey, we're not in the unanimous consent period right now. Just hold 1 second. And are there any withdrawals, objections, or requests for debate? All right, hearing none, we're in unanimous consent period. Mr. Hosey?
Okay, thank you, sir. I'd like to have unanimous consent to withdraw Senate Bill 1011 from Ways and Means and place on the calendar. It's the Baltimore County National Guard Armory transfer.
All right. Mr. Hosey moves to withdraw Senate Bill 1011, which is a Barnwell National Guard bill from Ways and Means. Is there objection? All right, so ordered. That'll be placed on the calendar, Mr. Hosey. Ms. Henderson Myers, for what purpose you rise?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to recall House Bill 3202. I ask for unanimous consent to recall it from the LCI committee and place it on the calendar. It's concerning providing diagnostic and supplemental breast examination testing for women. I am a breast cancer survivor myself. I understand how these tests are very, very crucial to life and death in many situations. And so I am asking